Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of TCS Student News. I'm Claude.
And I'm Salma. Let's get right into the news.
Starting in Africa, Russia is now asserting its presence within the continent. Originally, many African countries were supported by the Soviet Union while it was in its prime, but much of that support was lost after the collapse in 1991. Now, Vladimir Putin is trying to reestablish many former spheres of influence in Africa while trying to reestablish Russia to its former Soviet glory. He is trying to invest into energy and minerals within the continent, using military power to do their dirty work. Most of their investments are in energy due to over 620 million Africans not having access to electricity. This provides a lot of economic opportunities for several Russian nuclear energy companies. Egypt has already made negotiations with Russia to develop the country's first power plant. Russia's second major concern is mineral investment, with the country already mining platinum, diamonds, and uranium in parts of Central and Southern Africa. Russia is also providing many weapons into Africa, already striking deals with countries like Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe. Even though both Russia and China have a big role in Africa's future, China is still much farther ahead of Russia due to how economically well China is and the very large population of the country. However, many African countries are still very concerned with getting the attention of Russia.
On Monday, Donald Trump attacked the Democrats after border security negotiations. Democrats want to limit the maximum numbers of beds available to hold detained immigrants from 60,000 to 38,000. On Monday, Trump tweeted out this statement: "The Democrats do not want us to detain or send back criminal aliens. This is a brand new demand. Crazy." Talks between lawmakers on funding for border security has been delayed over the weekend as the debate about ICE's ability to hold immigrants in detention centers. The standoff raises fear for another government shutdown or of Trump declaring a national emergency. The end result will likely cause legal challenges. Trump triggered a recent 35-day government shutdown with a demand for $5.7 billion for a wall along the U.S.-Mexican border. Democrats have offered $1.3 billion in funding for other border security measures, but no money for the wall. Trump agrees to reopen the government for a few weeks while lawmakers negotiate a deal to fund border security. Funding for a number of government agencies expires on Friday.
Focusing back on Russia, the country is planning on disconnecting itself from the global internet in order to test its cybersecurity defenses. That means that Russian data will stay inside the country rather than be spread throughout the world. The test is supposed to happen before April 1st, but no exact date has been confirmed yet. The reasoning behind this is a new draft law that was introduced into the country's parliament. The Digital Economic National Program requires Russia's ISPs to make sure that they can operate in the event of foreign powers trying to isolate the country online. NATO and its other allies have threatened to sanction Russia over the cyber attacks and other online interference that Russia has been accused of. The measures in the law include Russia building its own version of the net's address system, known as DNS, so it can operate if links to these internationally located servers are cut. The tests are also expected to involve ISPs demonstrating that they can direct data to government-controlled routing points. Eventually, the Russian government wants all domestic traffic to pass through these routing points. Many people believe Russia is doing this in order to censor political enemies towards the current government. We will have to see what effects this could possibly have on our country's cybersecurity and how the current Russian government plans to stay in power.
The latest update on the current outbreak on Ebola in Africa has gotten worse. This past weekend, the Health Ministry of the DRC reported that as of February 10th, there have been 811 confirmed or probable cases of the viral disease since August 2018. One of the cases, 510 people have died, including 100 children. The outbreak has mostly been centered in the northeast of the DRC. Between January 15 and February 3rd, the World Health Organization reported last week there were 123 new confirmed cases alone. The current toll represents the second largest outbreak of Ebola in recorded history. On Sunday, the nonprofit Save the Children highlighted the young victims of the current outbreak. According to the organization, there have been 97 children killed so far, with the majority under the age of 5. The outbreak may last another 6 months or the whole year if there are no actions taken. The DRC is a country suffering from violence and conflict and an extreme hunger crisis. Some 4.6 million children are malnourished. The main concern for many people are safety and making sure they have enough to eat. But Ebola has the priority too. According to the Health Ministry of the DRC, nearly 80,000 people have been vaccinated with an experimental vaccine manufactured by Merck. Now, let's get into some important stuff with TCS news. Last Thursday, Ms. Elaine came in and she talked about light spectrum. We did an experiment that involved looking into helium, nitrogen, and hydrogen gas atoms. We looked through special glasses that made us see so many spectrum of lights of the gas atoms. Looking through the special glasses made everything look cool. Thank you for the experiment, Ms. Elaine.
On Tuesday, we had another shadow day for the current year. We had one potential student come in on the ISO day. As usual, we all tried our very best to show the great things in the school, such as the different learning environment from public schools and the care each student has for each other and the teachers. We hope she enjoyed her day at the school and makes the right choice.
On that same day, a former teacher, Ms. Janira, who is from Jamaica, came in for a visit. She used to teach in the back classroom and she taught the first year students. Donald and Jordan were one of them. She talked about the importance of education and not mattering your situation, that you should either way still continue your education.
On Wednesday, the school took a trip to Center Stage to see a play that many of us enjoyed very much. We also got to check out their room for their acting camp and their costume shop. In their costume shop, we got to meet two people who were working on outfits for other plays in Center Stage. We got to see all the work that goes into the costumes for the actors, big or small. The play, Fun Home, was about the lesbian cartoonist Alyssa Bachdel looking back on her life of discovering her sexuality to trying to understand her father's problems about his own sexuality. It would often switch back from her past as a child to her college years, but her present self was always in the moments of her life. The play was such an emotional ride with many moments that people could relate to. From her difficulties with understanding her family life as a child to figuring out herself during college, this play will surely stick with many of us throughout the years. What do you think about the play, Salma?
The play really gave me a better view on homosexuals. The way the play sent out its message was really meaningful. You had to be an open-minded to actually understand it. Thank you, Mr. Michael and Ms. Edina, for inviting us.
Last but not least, we would like to thank everyone who brought in lunch this week. Thank you, Miss Lisa, for bringing in the chicken and rice on Monday. We appreciate the fact you drove out in the icy roads to get lunch for us.
Thank you, Ms. Nigmar, for coming in and providing lunch for all of us. We appreciate you for coming in with this horrible weather. Your work towards the school really means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Peg, for coming in and making us some pasta, sausage, salad, cookies, and some fruit. We know you had to drive through the same mess of ice and rain and traffic on Tuesday, so we are very grateful that you came in to make sure we had lunch that day. Thank you, Mr. Mark, for the Domino's on Wednesday. We appreciate the fact you provided lunch on a day where we had no lunch planned originally. Lastly, thank you, Miss Gill, for the chili and salad on Thursday. Without you guys, we wouldn't have such great meals for this week.
Well, that's the end of TCS News. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope to see you everyone again next week.